Over these last days, the question has been asked, what is the difference between perception and awareness? And it could be said that a consensus has been arrived at that perception is of the senses. Perception is purely sensory. But what about awareness? Perhaps we can explore this a little more. But before doing so, continuing with the Zen, which is sharp and acute, there's a reminder that it's been suggested that every element, every character in every story is an aspect of ourselves. And remembering that we're exploring awareness. There was a well-known samurai, well versed in the ways of the sword, and therefore well versed in the ways of death. And it so happened that he fell in love with the beautiful wife of a very rich merchant. Now she was in love with him also, so they plotted the demise of the merchant and carried out their dastardly task successfully, so that they were able to run off together. But the samurai soon found that this beautiful woman was a shrew, totally and only self-seeking. And so he soon abandoned her. But then he was a fugitive, running from the law, moving from place to place. But his travels in life brought him to change his views about death. And with that came contriteness and repentance and, you might say, acute awareness. And so in his travels he came across a small village in a valley, and he found that the villagers, in order to survive, they had to traverse a steep mountain pass, and many of them lost their lives, their wagons falling over the steep edge. And so, as an act of contrition and repentance, he decided that he would make a tunnel in the mountain to enable the villagers to travel safely, to sell their wares and make a living for their families. He started on his task. But in the meanwhile, the son of the wealthy merchant grew to manhood, and he swore revenge on his father's death. So he set out to find the samurai, and he was successful. And taking his sword, he was about to render the samurai asunder when the samurai begged him, "Please, please, I have taken on the endeavor to complete this task. Allow me to finish what I have started, and then you can do with me what you will." So the son of the merchant agreed to this, and every day he sat by the samurai swordsman as he dug relentlessly into the mountain. But then, after some while, the son grew very tired of languishing by the side of the road and decided that he would join the samurai in his task. And so together, daily, they toiled, day after day, month after month, year after year, until finally they broke through the other side of the mountain and the pathway was made. The samurai went and took his ancient sword and handed it to the son of the merchant and said, "Now do with me what you will." But laying down the sword, the son of the merchant fell on his knees in front of the old samurai, with tears rolling down his face. And he said, how can I kill my master? And then there's a story of two samurais who were ancient enemies. They had been in the arena many times, battling between them to gain supremacy. And at every opportunity, when they happened to meet, they would plot in their minds what they would do to their enemy if ever they had a chance to bring about their death, snarling like animals at one another. But then, one day, each of them was walking on the side of a fast-running stream. They were looking across at one another, this narrow tract of water, and snarling at one another as was their bent, when suddenly the stream took a turn, and as it turned, they both saw that there was a small being struggling in the fast-running water, trying to keep their head above the turbulent stream. Each of the samurais looked at one another. One pointed one way and one pointed the other, and immediately one went looking for a rope and the other one went looking for a log. And together they were able to save the young being from the water. One of the samurais held the shivering, half-dead little creature in his arms to his heart, while the other went to look for wood to build a fire to warm him. And then one passed the child to the other and said, I know of certain herbs that will help him revive. And so the other samurai held the little being to his heart, while the first samurai went off looking for herbs and boiled water to bring warmth to the core, the inner being of this small child. After they had done what it was necessary to do to bring this little being back to life, they looked at one another, and in that exchange they realized that there was no more enmity between them. Not a thought, not a trace left of animosity, revenge, hate, and death. What have these two Zen stories have to do with an exploration, an inquiry into awareness? What is awareness? So arrived at the consensus on perception. It's purely sensory, but awareness. What is this awareness? What are these two Zen stories? Remembering that every character in them is an aspect of our self. What is awareness? Thank you.
Coming to the awareness that we're all one, understanding and love.
Is that what awareness is for you?
I mean, it's consciousness and becoming one with the universe and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And realise that even your enemies really are your brother on the same trip, that you can work together and for the good.
Okay. And when we can make a clear definition between these two, perception and awareness, it allows us into another realm that opens up and allows to blossom within us understanding such as we could not even imagine before. So let's explore awareness some more. Delve into it for yourself. What is it that for me is awareness? See where it leads for us. See what a wonderful microscope it is.